Hello everybody, welcome to the explained series from Raj Malhotra IAS Academy. Today our topic will be India's population explosion concerns. Recently the news and the various surveys by the UN or with respect to our surveys by our domestic organizations also, the concerns regarding population explosion and its basically how it can increase the sharp inequality within the society have been raised. All of you must be aware of regarding the takeover of China by India with respect to the population by 2025 or 2027. Okay, recently also there was debate in the parliament regarding the measures for population control or the bills that have come to the forefront from the Assam or from the UP state governments regarding the control of population, or as they are called as two-child policies, and the minister gave a reply in the parliament also. We need to understand that basically India's total fertility rate, its target of 2.1, it has been basically more or less achieved now, because 28 states out of total 36 states plus UTs have achieved this rate, but those who haven't, the parts that basically belong to the less developed part of India or the states that are still developing like Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, they are still having the fertility rates of over 3 or 3.1. Okay, it is in this regard that basically we will study what are the, first of all, causes of increase in population or overpopulation. So first of all we will start with our first cause, that is illiteracy. How illiteracy is a factor to the population explosion. You will have to consider the fact that individuals with lack of access to education or low quality education, they do not know very much about the process of family planning or the gaps between the number of childs or the access to the reproductive technologies or the various government schemes that have been initiated by the government for the population control measures. So illiteracy becomes a factor because it cannot bring a social or attitudinal change among the people. So that is the cause. Another one is the early child marriage. How early child marriage results in an increased population. If an individual is getting married at 16 or 17 years of age, it gives him or basically the individual a longer reproductive period, which can result in repeated pregnancies over the period of time. If individual is getting married at in the late 20s, that gives him the individual a limited reproductive period, but marriage at 15, 16 or 17 years of age gives a longer reproductive age to the individual, which results in repeated pregnancies and is a cause of basically increased population. With this you can always associate the high fertility rate. In India there is a problem with respect to the higher fertility rates in the country, and one of the causative factor with respect to that is the early age marriages also, because that causes repeated pregnancies. And another one with respect to higher fertility rate, the cause is the obviously the no awareness regarding the family planning techniques. Okay, or you can also say that basically large families within Indian society, they are not considered as a taboo. Okay, it is not considered undesirable to have more number of children. Okay, next one is a basically low death rate. How low death rate is an issue? Because with the increase in the what we say medical facilities in the country, okay, we are able to provide a basic level of services to every individual. Okay, that has increased the life expectancy of the individuals. Okay, even with respect to some chronic diseases, we are coming with new technologies or new solutions with respect to the diseases that is delaying the high death rates. So that is a basic issue. What is our life expectancy is now 67.5, and it has been our basically what we say the national health policy also desires to increase it to the 70 years of age in the coming years. Next is the religion. How religion is a causative factor, because in Indian society religion is a way of life. Okay, there are some tasks that are needed to be performed by the male child only. Okay, like there is basically the post death rituals are there, or taking care of the elderly is there, that are basically defined in the religious texts. Okay, so what happens with respect to that is, you may be aware of the concept of son meta preference given by the Amartya Sen, where individuals keeps on reproducing until they get a desired male child. Okay, results in increase in population. Then use of contraceptives, this is also an issue because individuals, they do not, the use of condoms, contraceptive pills, or even the sterilization techniques, if you can talk about, what happens with respect to that is they are still not as such socially accepted within the society. There is a taboo with respect to the debate over these kind of techniques that are basically started by the government to, or there is also a push by the government to increase the awareness regarding the use of pills or condoms is there. Okay, but that is not happening because the techniques are not as such socially accepted within the society because of a taboo attached with them. Next is the technological advancements. Okay, if you take the take the case of let's take the case of agriculture with respect to economic activities. Now as such we are not basically producing at a bumper rate. Okay, with respect to our economy also, that is also growing at an increased rate. Our health facilities, we have made so much advancements. Okay, so that is basically not acting as an incentive for the individuals to go for increased populations, because whenever you are not in scarcity, with just take the case of like we earlier take of agriculture, if you are producing enough to feed your family, why would an individual like to go for an low population or less number of children? Okay, the health facilities with respect to the medical field, okay, or with respect to the, just take the case of corona, how in just less amount of time we were able to produce the vaccine and that was able to save so many lives. Next and the most important one is the poverty. Okay, with respect to poverty, you can also associate the concept of child labor. What is happening is that ours is a informal economy. 90% of the labor force is in the informal sector, so it results in increased labor intensive activity. Okay, to fulfill the livelihoods, it is considered desirable that all the members of the family should be working, or if the size of the family will be big, the more number of individuals will be able to work in the economic activity and they will be able to produce an increased incomes. So these are the basically major factors that are there for the increase in the population explosion. Now coming to concerns, what are the concerns with respect to this increased population rate? First of all is the use of the resources, because the higher the number of individuals within the society and less will be the number of resources that will be available for use or available for distribution. There will always be an unequal distribution then. Okay, that is why government is so basically actively pushing the case of population control also, because the scarcity of resources, it is also at sometimes the cause of conflict. Okay, the bigger problem with respect to the biggest concern is the scarcity of the resources, that how they will be distributed, so that within society there is no rumor or no perception that the resources are unequally distributed so that they can cause a conflict. Next one is an unemployment. A country cannot absorb all of its population in the employment sector. Okay, we are already having basically in the aftermath of COVID, we are having a 7% unemployment rate. Okay, if you have studied the recent statistics that have come out, so the government cannot absorb all of the individuals in the employment activity, specifically if they are in today's time where there is an increased division of labor, the individuals are not having a specialized skill set. Okay, further this also results in the problem of underemployment. Underemployment is where you are not able to get a job according to your qualifications. Okay, so that is also an issue, because with the increased number of individuals within the society, everybody, or with the decreased skill set in the society, you will not be able to get a job that is in comparison or in with regard to your worth. Okay, so that is the issue that is there. Then next is the issue of food security. We are living in a globalized society with the problem with respect to agriculture that is coming to the forefront is the increased commercialization of agriculture, the use of sowing of the crops that are used for the export activities. That is basically somehow hindering our process of food security also. Okay, further we have a large population to feed, and especially when majority of them belongs to the lower class society, because the onus is of the government to provide them the food ration in the form of social security schemes, like we have National Food Security Act is there, midday meal schemes are there, public distribution system is there. Okay, so it comes a huge task to provide the distribution, specifically equal distribution of the, because this is the most basic necessity in the society. Okay, so that also, that is an issue. Okay, because the more the number of like I earlier said, the more the number of the individuals in society, less the resources and more will be the cost of the things. Okay, that can sometimes put food out of the reach of the lower class families. Next is with respect to the environmental degradation. How environmental degradation is a concern? Because to what we say, increase the prosperity of the individuals living within society, the governments will go for increased exploration of the natural resources. Okay, the areas that were earlier defined by the or demarked with respect to the sensitive, ecologically sensitive areas, they will not be undertaken by the or habitated by the individuals. For example, take the case of encroachment of the flood plains. Okay, that is why with the, there is so much destruction of the livelihood or the disruption of the socio-economic activity whenever the floods come. Take the case of, you can take the case of landslides also that are recently happening in the Himachal. That all are the case of the environmental degradation, because to co-adjust that population, we will take a control over more natural resources. That will basically result in the environmental degradation. You can also link it with the aspect of the food security, because to increase the production as well as the productivity in the agriculture sector, you will make increased use of fertilizers, insecticides. Okay, that will basically disrupt the water table, soil qualities. Okay, then further is the urbanization. What is just take the case of India now. What is happening within India? The major prominent centers in India, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, there is unplanned migration from the rural areas to these metropolitan areas because economic opportunities are more. Okay, so but everybody cannot be absorbed into the core areas or the areas with the basic necessities in the cities. So what happens is that the periphery of the cities get encroached. Okay, it results in the proliferation of slums, where there is further problem of sanitization, accessibility to clean drinking water, accessibility to health, accessibility to education, the increasing crime rate within the cities because the aspirations are high. So that is the issue. And last of all, obviously there is the health. How health? Basically just take the case of, link it with the early marriage only, because the with respect to the early marriage, the individual who is reproducing at a tender age, what is happening is that the specifically with respect to girls, her nutrition requirements are not being taken care of. Okay, repeated pregnancies increase the health vulnerability. Okay, further the case of basically infant mortality also, because if the health of the mother is not in good position, then how can the health status of the infant child can be improved? That is also the cause of our high maternal mortality rates and the high infant mortality rates. Okay, so these are the major concerns that are there with respect to the population explosion. With respect to health, you can also what we say, link it with the presence of the infrastructure within the health infrastructure within the geographical space. Okay, because increased number of individuals within the society, that ours is a diversified society, increased heterogeneity within the society. Okay, the individuals vary according to the geographical space, caste basis, class basis, religious basis. Okay, we will have to go for increased availability of health resources. Okay, that was the problems with respect to this was also witnessed in the case aftermath of COVID. You can link it with the urbanization also if you want to, because the areas where they were not properly secure or that were basically prone to the environmental problems. Okay, slum areas specifically, the concerns regarding to the spread of COVID were more with respect to that areas. That is why we also witnessed the reverse migration also from cities to the rural areas in the aftermath of COVID. So health problems can also be linked to it. So these are the causes and concerns of India's population explosion. So what should be done to reduce this? So first of all is what we can do is the government, we should fulfill our targets of National Population Policy 2000 that are in place. Then National Population Policy Program is also there. Government has started the Mission Parivar Vikas also. Okay, Further and most importantly is the increased awareness within the society. We should not go for coercive approaches that are not acceptable to the people. We should try to bring an attitudinal change, try to make aware the people regarding what are the basically long term disadvantages of early marriage, high fertility rates, or basically with respect to the lack of education, how it is hindering the accessibility to education. Increased population, how increased population is also a cause of concern of poverty, because you will not be able to give the equal opportunities in education if you are not a family with good resources to your child. Okay, so that is the issue. Further, we should promote the girl education, because girls can be an educator factor of social change. That can be done. What else can be done is with respect to the awareness of the use of the contraceptives, with respect to the condoms are there or the contraceptive pills are there, removing it from the social taboo. Okay, these are the major techniques that can be adopted by the government. I will repeat them again. First of all, we should go for the full implementation of national population policy. National population policy program is there. Then mission Parivar Vikas is there. We should not go for coercive approaches. Instead, we should go for awareness and bring the attitudinal change among the people with respect to the disadvantages of increased population, promote girl education further, and remove the use of contraceptives or sterilization techniques from the social taboo and make people aware regarding their long term benefits. So these are the cause, concerns and solutions with respect to the increased population with respect to India. That will be all for today. Thank you.